the silver field. The darkness of the hinterlands was not a mere absence of light. It was a physical weight, a cold tide that pressed against the lungs and turned the blood to slush. Sir Alaric of the Gilded Reach knelt in the center of a clearing that had no name, his breath rattling inside his visor like dry leaves skittering across stone. His armor, once polished to a mirror sheen to reflect the glory of a sun-drenched kingdom, now glowed with a sickly, ethereal light. It was the only illumination for leagues. He was a torch burning out in a world that had forgotten the concept of morning. The weight of the spear. Alaric's right hand gripped his spear, a weapon that felt less like wood and iron and more like a heavy anchor tying him to the earth. He used it as a crutch, his fingers numb inside his steel gauntlets. Behind him, his secondary blade lay discarded in the grass, a silent testament to a skirmish that had ended not with a victory, but with a hollow, ringing silence. He remembered the command given by the High Archon, "Carry the light until the light carries you." At the time, in the incense-filled halls of the capital, it had sounded like a blessing. Here, in the damp grass of the abyss, it felt like a curse. A memory of color. To keep from slipping into the final sleep, Alaric forced himself to remember the color red, not the dull, rusted red of the blood currently drying on his surcoat, but the vibrant, screaming crimson of the poppies that grew in the valley of his youth. He closed his eyes and tried to hear the laughter of the harvest festivals, but the silence of the hinterlands swallowed the memory. All that remained was the low rhythmic hum of his own enchanted plate. The armor was powered by his very life force. The brighter it glowed, the closer he was to the end. He was literally burning himself away to keep the shadows at bay. The unseen enemy. Something moved at the edge of his vision, a ripple in the darkness. The creatures of this place did not have faces. They were made of smoke and spite, drawn to the stain of his light like moths to a flame.
"Not yet," Alaric whispered, his voice a gravelly ruin. "I am the wall. I am the watchman."
He tried to stand. His greaves felt as if they were fused to the mud. Every joint of his harness screamed in protest. The image of him kneeling, vulnerable, bowed, yet still clutching his weapon, was a portrait of a kingdom's dying gasp. If he fell, the darkness would finally breach the border. The villages 10 miles to the east would wake to a sun that never rose, and a cold that never left. The final stand. With a roar that was more of a sob, Alaric shoved the butt of his spear into the soft earth and heaved. His armor flared with a blinding, desperate brilliance, casting long, jagged shadows across the clearing. For a brief second, the grass looked green again under the artificial glare. He stood, swaying, his silhouette a jagged silver needle against the void. He didn't know if he was the hero of the story or merely its final punctuation mark. He raised his spear, the red fabric of his under-tunic stark against the silver plate, and waited for the ripples in the dark to take shape. He was Sir Alaric, the last spark in the grate, and he would not go out quietly.